butter I've got is room temperature. We are in summer. Woohoo! Start slow. Otherwise, you're just going to find yourself covered head to foot in icing sugar. Hello my lovelies, I'm going to be showing you how to make buttercream. Now this will be stitched together with a recipe I've got going on, so you can see how to make a cupcake recipe from start to finish with a cupcake recipe, sugar flour tutorial and a buttercream tutorial. But I'm also going to do these separately, so you can just pick and choose. If you think, I know how to make cupcakes, I know how to make sugar flowers, I do need to know how to make buttercream. So I'm going to show you how I make my buttercream. Like I said, it's a bit thicker than other people's buttercream, which is usually more of a fluffy frosting. The reason being is I just love the consistency. I think it gives a really smooth, gorgeous taste to the cupcake, whatever cupcake you decide to use. And it really holds well for a particular colour technique that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to do normal roses and a specific technique that I love doing, that it just looks so striking with an alternative colour. So let's make the recipe. Simon, who is a husband and the oldest person in the house, runs around scooping up the sugar air like some sort of fish out of water. But because it really does get quite dusty, so just to warn you, you've got to be really quite delicate and slow with icing sugar. Unlike flour, that, you know, has a bit of weight and gravity behind it, icing sugar is just so crazy. So if you don't have a mixer with a guard, like this one does, start really slow. Maybe even mix it by hand. The butter I've got is room temperature. We are in summer. Woohoo! So that means that the butter is actually melted. If this was winter, I might have had to give it a bit of a helping hand, but as it is the summer, it is just perfect. So just my butter and icing sugar have gone in there. I'm also going to, at this stage, pop in some vanilla. And just going to put it on the butter there so it goes and mix in with the butter. I'll put the exact amounts down there, but you know, I've done this a million times so I can guesstimate. And I'm just going to put this on to mix. Now again, this fabulous mixer starts slow anyway. Even if you whack it up to full, this will start slow. If you didn't and you were doing it by hand, either with a hand whisk or beating it or with this, start slow. Otherwise you're just going to find yourself covered head to foot in icing sugar. Even with the guard, it will spew out the sides. So I'm just literally, it's just switched on, but the power is just getting to it because I just need the butter to mix into as much of that icing sugar as possible before it goes absolutely crazy and covers everywhere in sugar. So it's doing it really slowly, it's taking its time. I can even open it a little bit and I'm not getting completely gassed by puffs and stuff, but I can see it's now starting to clump together, and that's what I'm looking for. It's going to be less fluffy, less airy and powdery. There we go, brilliant. I can see it now, all together. So I'm going to beat the living daylights out of this for a little bit. I'll make sure that vanilla I put in has really mixed in well. Now, as I said, there's a certain kind of consistency I go for, and it's quite tough, which is another reason why I use these things. And I'm just going to test it myself. If I was making this for a client, I would not be doing this, but it's just for home, so that's fine. Some people will probably mix it a bit more just to make sure that the sugar's kind of melted into the buttercream, and that's fine. That's just what people do, and I have absolutely no problem with it. For me though, the more you whisk it, the more air bubbles you get in, and it's kind of like a bit of a balancing act. So I don't want too many air bubbles in this. Again, if I made it a bit lighter and a bit plappier, I probably wouldn't have that, but this is my buttercream. If you don't like it, absolutely fine. No problem whatsoever. But everybody's ever had it loves it. So this is why I show you these things. I wouldn't show you something if people didn't go completely crazy for it. Otherwise, what's the point? You know, saying like, yeah, this isn't bad. People do really like it. Why don't you make it? That's not going to happen. So this is, I'll show you how stiff it is. It's quite stiff. Very stiff. So yeah, you will get a bit of a workout with this when you pipe it, but it is the sort of texture I love. If you find it too thick for you, add some water. I've got here just in case I wanted to, but it's absolutely fine. And add it half a teaspoon at a time. I know that sounds bonkers, but honestly, a quarter to half a teaspoon at a time, you'll be astonished how thin that makes icing sugar. It really, really, really will. And it's best just to go quarter to half each time. I think that's not thin enough. And you probably will find maybe a teaspoon, maybe 1.5 to 2 max, before it starts to get really, really sloppy. So, as I said, for me, this is perfect. I love the fact it's got all those little specks of vanilla in. If you want to change the colour, you could just put the colour in with the vanilla, and that would have beaten it up into whatever colours you fancy. I've made all sorts of colours, and I will be doing a recipe at some point for chocolate buttercream. And when I have done that, it will appear here. But if there's no link yet, I haven't uploaded it yet. So, let's get on with things. I know my cakes have come out of the oven, so I'm just going to prep this. And the first thing I need is a pint glass. Okay, so this is a kind of pint glass, but this is very, very handy, and I will tell you how. So, oops, she's just making a mess. I've got 2 of my trusty old silicone piping bags here. Been well used, but nice and clean. And inside the piping bag, I have put, I think it's a Wilton 2D nozzle. I will put the link to the nozzle so you can see exactly what kind of one it is. And this is what I do with the pint glass. I didn't even tell you, did I? Just went straight in. I'm so used to doing it. So the nozzle is in the bottom there, and I've put that inside the pint glass. I put this over the edge because it holds your piping bag up. Because if you're trying to spoon it through when it's on the table and it's going everywhere and it's getting on, oh, it's just a nightmare. So in a pint glass, or a large glass is a large plastic glass, it just gives you that little bit more stability. So I've got a massive spoon here, and I just literally dollop this in as best as I can. Right, there we go. Oh, so I'll probably get a couple of spoons in there, because I will be doing some plain buttercream tops, and then I want to show you something special. So let's see, that should be a bit too much in there actually. Let's scoop a little bit out. There we go. So this will be fine for the plain buttercream ones. Just going to push it to the end and give it a twist, and then just leave that to one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a different technique. Now this is going to be taking up a little bit of icing sugar. I suppose about that much would be fine actually. Just get that in there. There's not much left, so I've got to be cleverly frugal with it. Now my Sugar Flare Cherry Red gel colour. This is used by a lot of pro bakers like myself. There are other brands available. You can get sugar gel colours now in the shops instead of food colouring, which doesn't have the same vibrancy, and it's also a bit watery, so it will water down your buttercream. But this is a gel colour. It's quite solid in there, and you just need a toothpick to get what you need out. Now I do want this colour to be quite vibrant, so I don't know if you can see how much is on that. It's a fair old chunk in about that much of buttercream. So I will show you why I want this to be so much brighter. I'll get my knife and mix it up, because there is a method of doing buttercream which is really, really striking. So I need to have quite a strong colour. I don't even know if this is going to be enough. I might have to put some more colouring in to really turn a really pretty pink. You can use this with any colour, obviously, if you prefer purple or black, or you know, greens, blues, anything you fancy. But I want to have a really, really striking colour. Now that is quite a deep pink, but I still want it deeper. Just get some buttercream off there. It's all over me now. Oops. If you're going to do it again, use another toothpick. Don't stick the same toothpick of sugar in there, because it will make this rot. This is perfectly fine to survive for the time it says on the best before date, which is quite some time. They've got another big chunk. But if you get sugar or food in it, it will start to go mouldy, and then you'll have to throw the whole thing out. They're not hugely expensive, but they're not cheap enough that I'd be happy just dumping this and buying a new one. So my suggestion is use a toothpick. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it does the job. and then it's okay if you throw it away. And I'm just going to try and make this into an even deeper pink. You can see it's getting really, really strong there. And because, as I said, it's a gel colour, it's still keeping the same consistency and not going watery, because I really need this consistency for this particular type of icing to work. Now, this is becoming a really, really bright pink, and that's what I want. And it sounds, believe me, trust me, it's not going to be lurid. We're not going to cover the whole cupcake with this, although that said, it could be pretty cool. I think bright colours are really, really in at the moment, but I just want to make sure that it's all completely covered. As I said, I keep flinging the odd bit on the table, but occupational hazard, really, really trying to twist this up as quickly as possible. So I think I'll just trying to think, I think I might put a bit more in with that. Little and often, so you're adding bits as you go. Don't just chuck in a whole ton. I have seen some people on Bake Off putting like a whole of this in their cake. Do not do that, please. It doesn't taste when you use the amounts that I'm using. You can't really taste it at all. If you use the whole bottle, you will notice the taste. And depending on the colour you use, what goes in will come out. So in the business, if you have a very, very strong blue colour on your buttercream or icing, you could become somebody who experiences what we call Smurf poo the next day. So, you know, just be careful. I did once do a cake with a lot of black in, and you needed a lot of super black, and with black you have to try and get it darker with sort of cocoa, and then use something called super black, and you do have to use a fair amount, especially things like buttercream, which obviously start off quite pale, so you know you're adding it. And I forgot to tell them that, because I did say to them, if you wanted that black, it will, you know, it'll stain things if you've got to be careful. And I forgot to warn them that the colour it goes in is the colour it comes out, and they were nearly going off to the doctors thinking that they had something seriously wrong. Thankfully they were fine when I explained it, and everything was fine after that. But yes, it can happen. So, but this is the beautiful fuchsia colour I was going for. I'm not quite sure if it's being picked up correctly by my phone in this particular, under these lights. But hopefully in the picture at the end, I will try and show you the colour as I'm seeing it here, because I'm looking at it on the camera and it looks like really an orangey red when it is actually a beautiful fuchsia colour. So that is why I like cherry red, because you can get this fabulous bright pink that is, it's not a lurid pink as it might look over there. It's actually a really beautiful naturally looking fuchsia colour pink, like a fuchsia. So I've got dye on the table, brilliant. That's not what I need. Just a handy tip, if you get dye on your hands, like I have done, any cream cleaner, like they call it, it used to be called Jif, is it called Sif now? But it's a cream cleaner like that, that's actually like white and slightly porous. That will get the dye off your hands really well without damaging your skin too badly. Don't do it too often, obviously, because it's not best for skin. But if you've got like work the next day and you don't want to go looking like you've just fallen into a tub of Smarties, it'll get things off that way. And if you wipe it quickly off surfaces when they're on it, it'll wipe straight off. Otherwise, tiny bit of bleach should do it, but be careful, test your surfaces before you use any bleach on them. Right, so that's that started. So now I'm going to show you why I was doing that. So I get my trusty cup, put my nozzle in, get this in there, and now what I'm going to show you is, I hope this works, I get a great big clump of this, and I put it in there, and I just smear it up the edge. If you can see that down there, I just smear it all the way there, and then I get another clump, and opposite, I smear all the way down there in this line as best as I can, so it's like a line, and then I do the same on the other sides. Now, this doesn't always work out on the first one, so you may find that It doesn't always behave as it's supposed to, because it's quite tricky. But what should happen is you should get a very nice effect on your buttercream as it comes out. Now, it's really difficult because the tricky thing is when you put your buttercream in, you have to sort of encourage it. When you put the white buttercream in, you've got to encourage it to go into the middle without taking the pink sides with it, which is really tricky. But if you can really, just put that there, really emphasize the lines in your piping bag with a dinner knife, as I'm doing, I'll show you in a minute because obviously you can't see me poking through here, you should be able to get, a fairly good effect. So I'm just going to pop that there. I'll pop that on top there. I will be using that again in a minute, covered in pink. So I don't know if you can see now, all the way through, I have tried very hard to kind of separate the line. I'm going to now fill this up with buttercream. Now I was going to say as well, because this buttercream is actually quite stiff, it's very stiff. If you're very quick, you can handle it and you could just plop it in like that. Most buttercream you can't do that with, but this is very thick buttercream. So if you can do that, as you can see, it really makes a difference and means you can get that effect quite well. So if I just pat that down there, that's kind of like the last of the bit of the pink in there. Fingers crossed. Oh, look at me, the statement, it's ridiculous. Fingers crossed we will have, first of all, we'll probably have a very pink colour coming out. Let me just put it in this bowl. This before I set up spare mushroom. You will see the first colour to come out is pink. See the pink against my apron. But what you will also see, which I will show you, I'm just going to do this now. What you will also see is the stripes. Now it's a bit messy. The first one you pull out is always going to be messy because it depends which one's going to race it through the nozzle. But when they both hit the nozzle, then they both come out fairly equally with fairly equal pressure, and you can see already the beginning of a really, really gorgeous effect that is simple and striking. If you get the Wilton 2D nozzle and a decent piping bag, because this is a firm buttercream, I would strongly suggest a silicone piping bag, because the plastic ones are sometimes not strong enough, and as you're squeezing it they can split. So I hope you can see that really well. That's what we're going to be doing on the cupcakes, which are currently cooling. So as soon as they're cold, she says, adjusting herself, covered in icing sugar, I will get the cupcakes out and then I will ice them and show you how we do that. And then I will also show you what we do with the little sugar flowers at the end, which I've got on another recipe, how to make sugar flowers, and you will understand how it all comes together to make a perfect, beautiful cupcake. See you in a moment. Hello my lovelies, welcome back. Excuse the dishevelled apron, but I've been cooking all day. I have the apron of a baker that is covered in icing sugar, so bear with me, please don't judge me. So what we've done now, if you'd watched any of the other videos, I've already done my cupcakes, which are cooling. I have got a couple of issues on the cupcakes, which I will show you how to get done, because for some reason recently, a lot of people have been contacting me with some concerns about their bakes and not knowing what to do and how to fix them. So I've cooked mine on a higher temperature to show you the problems you can have and how you can fix it. So normally my cake would come out roughly something like this. This is a nice flat, well-cooked cake. It's slightly at an angle because my oven is starting to fail, which is not very good for a baker, but you guys will at least accept me as I am. Normally these would be nice and flat on the top, and I will show you how the professionals do their buttercream. So you have this cupcake, just a little bit slightly risen at the top. So I'm just going to take that off. I say professionals, this is how I do mine. Right, so I've taken a little bit off. I'm just going to put that in there, my little thing. And you see you've now got that here. What I would do with some spare buttercream, that's not in the piping bag, is I just get it, pop it on top. This is just a plain dinner knife, nothing special, no fancy equipment. And I just do that. And I hold onto the edges of the buttercream case, and that bit I'm holding onto with my thumb, I get the knife and just scoop across. And I do it all the way around. A little bit of help, a little bit more buttercream on there, and I just scoop. Get my buttercream, scoop, scoop, and that's it. And now you have a totally flat cupcake with flat buttercream. And then we go and add the swirl. Now, I'm going to try the pink one first. See how this comes out. Just get a bit more out of it. Oh, there we go. So with the swirl, you start in the middle, and then you slowly go around the cupcake like this, and then you go around the edge of the swirl, and then you stop. And I will show you what to do at the end of it. So if you're watching, I'll try and close up on this. Go to the middle, push, start to go round to the edge, keep going round, and then you've no more left to go, and lift. And you will now see the effect I was talking about. How striking, how stunning is that? Absolutely gorgeous. Now, we have this little bit to contend with at the end. Ooh, let's flip it up. And this is exactly where my little flowers come in. I think the white one goes. I think the white one's striking enough. Oh yeah. How is that for an absolutely stunning, beautiful cupcake? Professionally done. Made by myself. So easy. It really is so easy. Just a swirl, a top, and a flower, and Bob's your beautiful cupcake. I'll show you again. So that's one, which is utterly gorgeous. Now, I'm going to show you the cupcakes that popped up. Now, people have been saying to me, let me get that one because it's quite high. A friend of mine had her cakes, they've come out and they've cracked. These are big cakes. I said just cut off the top and stack them as normal, and it worked perfectly. She did an absolutely stunning cake. It was amazing. And sometimes cupcakes come out like that. And what it is because the heat is too high, the top sets, the middle hasn't cooked. The bubbles in the middle start to cook, and they push up and they're like, I've got to go somewhere, and they burst through your cracked top of your cupcake, and then they set. So you get this really weird top. Now don't panic. All is not lost. We just go round and cut that bit off like that, so it's still flat. And these little bits of cupcake bits left over, just eat them or put them in the freezer, and when you get loads of them, make them into cake pops. So we've got our little dip there, but no one's going to see that because we're going to top it like a pro. And here we have the buttercream on the top, just going across, hiding all the sins. No one knows. No one has a clue that your oven was too hot. You see, it's all sorted. No one knows. And we've got this beautiful flat surface to put that fantastic rose on. So now I'm going to do a plain one. We get the plain buttercream. This is just ordinary cream. So again, if you watch closely, and I will try and do a close-up of it there so you can see a bit better, and get the piping bag really, really tight, and then holding the twisted bit so you've got that secure and nothing can back up, and holding the main body bit. Now notice this isn't very full. This is a huge bag, but I've only got it full that much because you get a lot more control. And if you have it too full, it's just going to be all over the place, and you know, just want a little bit of control when you're starting this thing. So it's really coming out because there's a lot of pressure. Stick that in the middle, squeeze it till it comes out, and then start to go round slowly, taking your time. Go around the edge, creating that beautiful rose. And then when you get to the edge and you finish, just pull away gently, stop piping, and then you have another lovely rose. Now with this one, we're going to use our pretty pink flowers. So in this bit here, as it's got that rough edge, what I do is I get a few of these, put them in the cap, maybe pop a couple of the big ones around like that, just at the top and bottom. Take that big one out, doing that, and sprinkle some more just around the top. Now you have to do this as soon as you've piped the buttercream, because that's the only time it's sticky. It just sets quickly. Get your flour, stick it in the corner, And there you have an extremely pretty little cupcake with a rose and a flower. But yeah, so you have two different types. So all you have to do, I mean, if you want to watch it again, just rewind and watch them. I've done them quite slowly for both types. You can see this one is the one with the stripes that I put in originally, and this one is the plain one, both just equally gorgeous, and both with a little flower on the bit that you lift up so you can hide all the sins. No one would know that one of these was too risen or it was an angle or whatever it is. It's just a brilliant way of disguising all the things you can and can't do. Practice with your swirls maybe in a bowl before you want to put it on a cupcake, or if it does go wrong on a cupcake, and I've done that and I've done this and I've done the swirl, I've got that looks awful, I just turn it upside down. The swirl falls into the bowl with the rest of the buttercream, and I just pat it down with a spoon so it doesn't get all dry. Cover the buttercream with some cling film if you're not using it, because it will start to set and get the crust on the top. Once it gets that, it's really hard to kind of mix back up again, and then just start again. Or you can even just flick it off, scoop it up, open the piping bag, pop it in the piping bag, twist it, and go again. The wonderful thing about topping your cakes with buttercream rather, in this manner, means that you've already covered any crumbs, any dodgy bits that you may see. And so if the swirl of the cupcake isn't very good, and you just do that, all that happens is the swirl falls off and you can start again, and you haven't destroyed your cupcake. It is really that easy. It is so forgiving. If you have any problems, any issues and stuff, please do let me know. So thank you for joining me. I really look forward to seeing you again soon for some other videos, and I will show you the finished product of all of these when I've done them. And until my next video, take care, darling, and thanks for joining me. Bye.